BS and all these conditioning things. It's like that's not true, like you're already amazing, like you're already wonderful, and you're already successful, really. Like you're able to breathe, to stay alive, you're able to be brought into this world, most of the sperm and the eggs die, like you're able to come out of your mom's womb, come out safely, like that's already a miracle, and you're already amazing, successful. So the rest is like, the rest is a journey.
Welcome to episode number 63 of the 100 Successful Women, a Conversation to Inspire series. I'm your host, Vivienne Pham. And today we are diving into a powerful conversation about mental wellness, resilience, and transformation. Our guest today is someone who's transforming the way we approach anxiety management and mental health. Meet Claire Wu, the founder of Breath into Peace and a multifaceted expert who is changing lives through innovative wellness approaches. With 15 years of experience and impressive blends of qualification, including Masters in Sports Science, a Bachelor in Physiotherapy, and expertise in psychology, Claire brings a unique perspective to mental health support. But what makes Claire's approach truly special isn't just her academic credentials. It's her personal journey of healing from generational trauma and her passion for helping others to find their path to peace. Today, Claire works with major organizations like STR Health and Flourish Australia, teaching practical tools for anxiety management and building resilient teams. She's also developing groundbreaking anxiety relief jewelry and conducting transformative workshop across Australia. So without further ado, let's hear from Claire Wu. Hey Claire, how are you doing today?
Yes, I'm really good. Thank you, Vivienne.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that you are here. I know that you are not feeling very well, but then you still take the time to be with us here today. Thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to hear more about your wisdom.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Vivienne. Yeah, it's been a bit of, I think it's a flu season, so people are getting a little bit sick from the flu. But yeah, I think I'm on the mend, so hopefully it'll get better after this week.
Yeah, hopefully you get really well soon. And then, yeah, I won't take up a lot of your time. So let's go into today's episode to share a little bit on Claire. So if you did watch some of my video, you probably know that the first question that I always ask these 100 successful women guests is that we know that you are an entrepreneur. We know that you are a daughter. You wear different hats in your life. But taking all those hats that you're wearing, who is really Claire Wu at your core?
Yeah, that's really interesting. It reminds me of a question of like, what's my inner child? Yeah, it's very interesting. So I think in essence, I'm a woman. I am Asian. I'm American. I am Australian. I am someone who's a very mentally resilient, who's gone through a lot of battles in life, and has built her strength and courage, and not afraid to show that, to express that to the world. Yeah, so that's me in essence. Yeah,
I love that mentally resilience. That's so important, and I love that you're actually sharing that, because that's probably some of the core value that you have. And I love that at the beginning you mentioned you remember about the story, who is your inner child. I think that's the real version of us, because when we were little, we wasn't influenced by a lot of external influence, especially the societies, our parents or our teachers or people around us. That's the core who is a real version of us. And I love that you're saying that mental resilience. Yeah, so Claire, I know that you're the founder of Breath into Peace, and you have do a lot of things that bringing mental wellness in the space. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey? What is the inspiration and what got you into this journey?
Yeah, so I suffer from anxiety when I was age 12. So from a very young age, I spent a lot of time, money, effort trying to recover. I've gone through domestic violence, toxic relationship, toxic workplace, and I think it all contribute to my anxiety. And my nervous system. So, during my healing, I discovered the power of the nervous system. I realized that, medication, therapy, and all these tools are not going to be sustainable if I don't, understand my nervous system and finding tools to regulate my nervous system daily. And that's then, I created this IP patented breathing necklace that I can use. So when I get stressed or anxious, I breathe out through it and they slow down my heart rate, calm my nervous system, and I repeat that. And I just wear it as I go because it sets a reminder for me to slow down and to take a deep breath. And yeah, that's when I realized there's millions in Australia and billions worldwide like me who can benefit. And that's when I decided to build Breathe into Peace. So essentially, we're a brand that helps people live in the moment. Because when you live in the moment, you're not worried about the future. You're not living in the past. You're kind of free from anxiety and depression. And a lot of it is through the nervous system. So one of it is through breath. So that breath is actually a really powerful part in our nervous system because it connects to your vagus nerve. So you can upregulate and downregulate. So it's very powerful. And another one is journaling. So another one is through like having journals that could help you to write out your negative thoughts, worries, triggers, and last but not least is to connect with other people. Yeah, so this is a conversation card, so you can connect to others for more positive connections. And as you know, we rub off each other, so it's quite important to have people that surround us are emotionally stable and that support and love us as well.
Wow, I love the production that you have created to help more people out there, and especially for the world that we are in now, there are a lot of people who needed to stay grounding, to be in the present moment. And thank you so much for what you're doing, Claire. You talk about a little bit about having the anxiety since the age of 12, and then from there you have been looking for solution. But then from that moment until now, obviously you have been on this journey. Throughout that period of time, what is that pivotal moment or that aha moment that you decided that, okay, I need to do something, I need to create something? Where is that pivotal moment?
Yeah, so I have been therapist. I've been a therapist in mental health for around 15 years. So I think I shifted. So when I'm 18, I was like, I'm stressed and anxious. Like there's a lot of expectations from the schools, from my family, from my peers. And I gotten into breath work. And, after the session, I was feeling really relaxed and calm, and I'm able to let go of all the expectations and stress. So that's when I first gotten in touch with breath work, and as part of the nervous system regulations. And then, fast forward, I'm like 18, I'm like 28, and I was at the change of my career. So that's when I moved from being a therapist more into sales. So that career change, took around a while, like 4 or 5 months. And during the change, I struggle with a lot of like not feeling good enough, feeling unlovable. I'm feeling not able to achieve what I want. Then I start picking up tapping. So it's almost through all these, things along the way that are the turning point. So I start doing the tapping into the nervous system. It's also called the EFT, Energy Freedom Technique. So it's very powerful. Like after I did the tapping regularly, I started to see my own, self-worth. I started to feel more lovable, more confident in my capability, in my ability. And that's when I, and able to move into the sales. And after a while in the sales, it's when I am 32. Yeah, so once I'm 32, I started breathing to peace. And that's just out of that creation of the breathing tool. I've always wanted to have something that I can use regularly on the go, and something for my clients as well. And when you first start a business, it's very stressful, so there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of stress. Sometimes you experience burnout. There's a lot of things upcoming. You're wearing multiple hats, as you say, like you're kind of doing everything: marketing, sales, customer service, production, delivery, all of that. And then you're like, oh, this is so stressful. Am I fit for this? And then you realize, oh, it's all about, this is what you do. This is all about the nervous system regulation. So I was like, okay, then we need to develop adding more products that's promoting the nervous system regulations. And yeah, I think there has been a lot of pivotal moments, but I think what motivates me to take the leap of faith is that how I see the product has the effect on me, and the effect on my clients, and seeing that because there's like 2.4 billion people worldwide that's struggling, and in Australia it's 5 million, so 1 in 4. So seeing the number, how high that the number has been, that it's always increased throughout the past year. So yeah, I thought it's probably time for me to really share this with the world.
Wow, I find that you are very, very creative. You have all this creativity in you, and you created this jewelry that is helping people coping with the anxiety. So I'm just curious, because you did mention that you started breath work since the age of 18. So I know that you're very young. So breath work is not something that is very common, at least during my age, okay? When I was 18, I know nothing about breath work. So can you probably share a little bit with us more about breath work during the previous years? And then I know that breath work is a big thing nowadays, but previous few years it wasn't a big thing. So what was your experience during that time? And yeah, what got you into that space? I mean, I know that you mentioned about because you faced with anxiety. So what or who helped you to get into that space? And then if you see what's the difference between breathwork many years back and now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think now, yeah, it has really even the nervous system, the vagus nerve, all of that has started 20 years ago. But it's becoming very, very popular now. So when I first started, it's very interesting. So when usually people got into it because they've rock bottom, or they've reached a point where they can't help themselves anymore. So when I'm 18, I mentioned I was having all this stress and expectations, and I was I'm considering suicide. So I literally went on the school rooftop, and then thinking, okay, I'm gonna just run to the end, and then end everything with a happy ending. But then something stopped me. So I think it was something bigger than me that told me to get help and stop. And I started getting help. So I got into the school counseling, and then they introduced me to the breathing technique and breath work. And also I am introduced to the Pilates, where they talk about breathing and the spine movement and all of that. So it sort of opened the small door of the breath work, where it's a lot around connect to spirit, connect to something bigger than you, to give you energy, to give you more reasons to continue, or give you guidance. I think part of it, a lot in the past, has been around how it connects you to your body, to your mind, to the spirit. And I'm still really grateful, because I remember that time where it's a mix of depression and anxiety at that age, and when I am encountering breath work, it almost gives me a sense of like control. over my life. Because before that, with anxiety and depression, I was thinking, my life was out of my control. I have all my life lived up to people's expectations of the society standard of everything outside of me. But when I started practicing breathing and breath work, the breath, so once you practice some of the breathing, there's multiple techniques. But at that time I was practicing something called a conscious connect breath work, and that gives me a ability to see my inner child and an ability to be like, oh, I have control over my life. Like even the breath itself, it was like more like I'm trying to use my breath to give me energy, but then in the end the breath is like it has its own lives and it's giving me the control that I have over my life. So it's telling me like I am the creator of my life. I am the person who has to say, I'm the designer of my destiny. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, all this expectation and stress and depression and all this, my parents, my society, my peers, like, oh, none of it really matters. It's all up to me. Like really, like nothing else matters. It's all up to me. I can't decide what I want to do. Nobody has a say in what I gotta do or what I have to do or what I should do. And I think that's the idea of like breath work, like 20 years ago, is it's something that connects you to spirit, something that's bigger than you, and then it guides you in a way. And it used to be like really just a really popular among like CEOs and athletes, really elite people. It used to be like that, or people who like really severely rock bottom, like us. And it's always been like a kept secret, unless you're in those kind of situations, and you get like coaches or you get like practitioners that teach you specific techniques. Yeah, so it is for high performance, but also at the same time it's for people who has rock bottom or people who are very severely mentally ill. But then throughout the years, I think it evolves into like something that people start to look after, like, when they do their running, when they do their triathlon, when they do their weight training, they start to realize like their breath has an impact on their performance or how they feel. So then they start implementing, doing things with their breath. Like if they push, they breathe out, and then if they come down with the arms, they breathe in. Or when they exert force, they breathe out. When they relax, they're breathing. So they start to add it into their exercise routine. And more reason people start to think about, because we're living in quite a stressful and high demand and fast paced world. So now people starting to implement it on their day to day. It's like, okay, this is something that I can use to regulate my nervous system, so it can improve my mood, it can reduce my stress and anxiety. So in a way that it's shifting to more like elite people or people who rock bottom to more like day to day, ordinary people's lives, to just to help you, maintain your mental wellness or to like build a good mental health habits. Yeah, so I think it's shifted towards that directions, and which is great. Like I've seen more and more people accepting it and doing it and just incorporating like their day to day, like, meditations.
Wow, that's amazing. I really appreciate you for sharing your most close to heart story, Claire. And then, yeah, it's like I find that it's something that is fascinating because I know that I do have a few questions that is prepared for our conversation today. But then from what you share, another thing that popped into my mind is that I know that the issue, especially for younger generation, especially the teenage years, where they're faced with challenges in their life, it can be a lot of decision that they can make, like you mentioned, go to a happy place. That's a lot of news nowadays, where younger people make the decision to take an alternative route to go somewhere else instead of continuing with their life. So I'm just think that the school that supported you is something that they got you into breath work, they got you into counseling that helped you with your journey. What are some of the you mentioned about breath work, you mentioned about counseling. For younger generation nowadays, what will be your advice for them if they have faced with situation like you did before?
Yeah. So I think now the suicidal rate has increased among young people. I think mainly because of the social media, and bullying and harassment, and also bullying and harassment at school, and also peer pressure and I think expectations from family and society. So I would say, like, I think a lot of the schools which we have spoken to, so they used to have just one counselor at the school. Now they're having like 3 counselors in the school, which is good improvement. They are adding in a lot of mental wellness and mental resilience programs, so giving students the tools. But what I found in my school that was very different is that we actually have a dedicated space for counseling, because that is a school for health professionals. So it's very interesting because they found that the anxiety is particularly high for people who are starting to become health practitioners. So they have a dedicated place, dedicated counselors. I think we have like 4 or 5. Some interns, some are long-term practitioners there, and there's a lot of volunteers. So I believe that nowadays for the younger generations, for them to maintain mental resilience and to prevent suicide, one key is the peer support. So having people who might be volunteers, who might be working in the schools that have gone through similar things, and then they're able to provide you, but then they've gone out to the other side. So they've overcome it. So that peer support, someone who with lived experience can support you in similar circumstances. So it's easier to feel heard, seen, and understood, and be supported along the journey. I think that's really important. Peer support. The second part is the tools, like could be counseling. I know it worked for a lot of people. For some people might not. Some people refuse to do counseling. I was responding really well for it, but some people don't. So it's good to have alternative, like art therapy or nervous system regulation or Pilates or maybe journaling club. Could be like a ecstatic dance. Could be anything that helps to regulate. Because not everyone wants to do talk therapy. So they don't want to talk to a person. So again, that varies, because I respond quite well to it, but like I've seen people around me that don't respond to talk therapy. They refuse to do it. So it's finding ways, even if it's through art, to dance, through drums, through whatever activity forms that helps you to get that, because again, emotion is energy. So whether it's sadness or depression, is some form of energy. So it's to help you to get that out of your system, out of your body, to have a place to go, and rather than sweep it under the carpet and then waiting for things to happen. So that's the second one I encourage young people to do. The third one is really to, I think with nervous system regulation, it's really important to connect to others. So really having a strong community support around you, like your family, like your friends, like the peer support, like having the supportive people around you through difficult times is actually been really, really helpful.
Thank you so much for the 3 tips that you just shared. That, and having some supportive system is so important, and someone with lived experience that can share with them to guide them along the way is very, very important. I think. Thank you so much for sharing your own experience, and then to give the tips to the younger generation, which I think it is such a crucial message for the society out there. And I love what you're doing to help regulate the nervous system for everyone out there. So you mentioned about a little bit about starting your business earlier. So yes, anything that is from the beginning, there will be challenges. I know that you mentioned about challenges, and you did mention about helping. You created the product, and the product is actually helping you to cope with the challenges. So aside from using breath work, what are some of the challenges that you face for starting your business? and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, so when I first started 2 years ago, yeah, so initially we have like a pre-order, right? So we put everything on the website, on the social media, and tell people, oh, we are pre-ordering this amount of product. And yeah, I think at first we sold out like 100. So one challenge is that I have is like the inventory was there's not sufficient inventory. So I had to understand like and forecast, how much stocks is coming in each month or each quarter, trying to understand the actual needs from the audiences. So that was the first thing, is inventory management, understanding, what are the needs, how much quantity that we actually needed every month, every quarter, and then make reordering from that. The second one is it becomes really challenging. I think 2024, yeah, at the start has been a very challenging year for a lot of people. So everything started to slow down. So because of the economy, the interest rates raise, and the cost of living, the rise of the cost of living. So people start to tighten their budget. They start to buy only essential items. They start to really cut down of whatever that's not necessary. So in that case, we're seeing the sales is really, really slow. It was slower than usual. So what we do was that we had to position ourselves really not as a jewelry brand, like we are a mental health brand. We are about, helping you, going through these difficult times, this recession times, and then it's an essential product. So we have to market and sell in a way that it's all around, this is your basic needs. This is like your toothbrush or your, shampoo or your water bottle. Like this is a basic needs that you need to get through your days, to get through the challenges. Yeah. So that's the second challenge that we have had. The third one is when we go directly to wholesalers. So we have been we stock in clinics and gift shops, and spas. And initially it's very challenging. So initially when we first introduce ourselves to all these shops and retail stores and retailers, they're like, who are you? Of course we've learned throughout the ways that we need to have a introduction, a catalog, an appearance, a phone call, and all of that, and managed to get through a lot of rejection. So you probably have, we now have around 1,000 customer business on the list, but in the past we have like 100, and most of it will be like, most of them will be like, no, we won't take your product. And then you get a lot of no's, and up to a point where you get a yes, and it becomes a 10,000 sales, and you're like, whoa, that feels quite good. So it's a bit like that. Sometimes you get a lot of no's, but it's just a numbers game. It's like I've learned it. I used to take it really personally, thinking that it's a no against my own, talent and creativity, and reinforcing the fact that I'm not good enough, that I'm a failure. But once I shifted that, once I kind of understand that, once I learn the game of like the no, like a no is just an opportunity for the next yes, and I'm like, okay, I start counting my no's. I was like aiming for 100 no's, but I never really get to 100 no's. Usually like the third or the fifth no, I get a yes. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's not bad. So I had to restart again to get to 100 no's. So my encouragement, if you're a new entrepreneur or business owner, is to get as much no as you can. That means that you're really trying, you're doing what you can, and to get all this, you're opening the door and to see which one actually opens, and eventually, you'll get the sales that you want. Yeah. So even after the 10,000 deals, I was like, oh, okay, now what's next? I start to get this again, like a fear of success. Like, oh, what about the next one? I get a 50 grand or like a 30 grand deal, and I start to worry. And I'm like, oh, you know what, Claire, you're blocking your own success again, like your fear of succeeding. But think about, like the person that you could help. Think about, your higher purpose, your higher self, like, where you are aiming towards, where you're going towards. And sometimes, not to let your ego get in the way. Sometimes it's not about the numbers, it's about, the impact that you make in people's life. Yeah, so yeah, sometimes that fear of failure and feeling not good enough is just what our ego is trying to, hold us back, telling us all the stories that we have in the past. But the actual fact is like, yeah, the other party, like the business that you're dealing with, actually only cares about like whether this product is gonna sell or whether this is gonna make my customers happy. So yeah, it's all about numbers game, and then about leaving your ego behind.
Wow, so true. The impact that you're making, instead of the ego that thinking whether are you are good enough or not, but the things that you are there. I always remember one of the mentor that shared the line. What if you don't get your products, or if you don't get your service out to others, and you know how good is your products, you know how good is your service, you're actually doing these clients of your disservice for not telling them. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And I remember, because I have a couple mentors that's making like 7-8 figures. So when I first started, this is also something I want to mention to your audiences who are new business owners, who are wanting to start a business. So one part is that, we always look at this goal. We think about, once we get to 6, we get to 7 figure or whatever, we are worthy, like we are successful. Like it's almost like a conditioning that we learn from schools and from our parents and our peers. But the fact is that you're already good, like you're already successful, like you're already amazing. And these numbers, this amount of money that you make is just energy that returns to whatever that you're doing, like the people that you serve or the people that you impact. So it's almost like it's a different sort of a mindset, because a lot of entrepreneurs and the people that I know that have burned out, they usually like they go really hard, they go really they work days and night, they work 15 16 hours 7 days a week, but they're constantly chasing that if I'm not getting there, I'm not getting to 7 figure, 6 figure, whatever, I'm not good enough, like it means I'm a failure. But the fact is you're already successful, you already is amazing, you are wonderful, you're already there. This is a journey to like the amount of money that people give you for your service or your products. So it's a really total change of my mindset, and then for the game and for my entrepreneurship. It's like I start to feel more fun and joyful and light in my business, rather than like, oh, I'm chasing after this 7-8 figure goal and thinking, when am I gonna get there? And then constantly comparing myself to others and think, if I never get there, I'm not good enough. And all this, BS stories that I tell myself, that we tell ourselves, it's all BS and all these conditioning things. It's like, that's not true. Like you're already amazing, like you're already wonderful, and you're already successful, really. Like you're able to breathe, to stay alive, you're able to be brought into this world, most of the sperm and the eggs die, like you're able to come out of your mom's womb, come out safely, like that's already a miracle, and you're already amazing, successful. So the rest is like, the rest is a journey, right? It's how people pay you and how people reward you for what you do and what you put out in the world.
Yeah, such a great insight there, Claire. I love that. That's so beautiful. You're so right that we are actually enough. That's enough. And I love that when at the beginning you say just being present. The present moment is actually a gift for us. And so true, we are already a win when we are out of mother's womb. The moment that the sperm meet the egg, we are already a winner from that moment. Yeah, that's such a great insight and reminders for a lot of people out there. Don't keep chasing for the shiny object, the bigger things. Of course, we all want to get there, but when you're staying present, you know that there are a lot more that you can be grateful for what you already have, instead of like so focused on the past, the future, but instead the present moment is a gift that we can appreciate. I love that sharing. Thanks so much, Claire, for that. Yeah.
Yes. There's
So
also a story I want to share between my this is a funny one, between my brain and my gut. So this is a story that I have at a certain period of my life, I am having this insomnia. I couldn't sleep. So why? Because my neighbor, my brain upstairs, and then my gut downstairs is always fighting, and I was like, guys, I can't sleep. And then the brain say, well, yeah, we just always have to think about the future, the future. And my gut say, no, we always have to think about the past. Like, yeah, the past is most important. And then I was like, okay, let me just find someone to help to solve this problem. So I talked to my lungs. So my lungs comes out and say, guys, just breathe. Just keep breathing. We only have the now.
Aww.
There's no past. There's no future. There's only the now. So I just want you guys to live in the now. And that's what my lungs told me, to keep breathing and to live in the now.
Wow, that's such a great story. I love the story that I feel that is so alive when you share your story. And then I can see that the way that you describe your experience, your story is just so captivating. At the beginning, when you mentioned about during your therapy, your breath actually come alive and you are actually not you, but the breath become itself. And then now you're talking about your navel, your brain, and then your gut and your lung. That's so good. I love how you describe this and such an impactful and remind ourselves to breathe. And then yeah, that's such a funny conversation, and it's so useful. I think some people who listen to that definitely remember use your lung to talk to your neighbor, which is your brain, and then your gut. Yeah, remember to breathe. I will remember that story of you, definitely, Claire. Thank you so much for sharing, and you have so much wisdom. And I'm just curious, when you started this business, you are a solopreneur that you started yourself?
Yeah, so when I started, I am doing this like a side hustle. So when I first started, I'm still working in sales, in mental health, and then I have this business on the side. Yeah, and then eventually, I started to have more people on the team. And then I go all in this year. I think I go all in, the middle of this year, and I go all in my business. So yeah, it's been very exciting. We've got 4 people now on the business. So yeah, it's quite fun. I've got marketing managers, I've got a salesperson, and I've got a customer service. So yeah, I think the 4 of us it's enough for now. Yeah, we probably don't need more people. Yeah, so it's quite exciting.
I love your journey. So did you design the jewelry, the necklace yourself?
Yes. So I designed it with another designer whose background is in architecture design. He's based in Brisbane. Yeah. So we collaborate together, and then we send it to our manufacturers and suppliers. So yeah, most of my business or most of the things I've done is through collaborations. Yeah. Even the journal, like this is actually this. I didn't draw this thing. This art is it's a collaboration with Gary. So he's an indigenous artist. Yeah. So we collaborate with him as well. And together I put in some of the therapy techniques inside. Yeah. So there's like 190 pages of guided prompts to help someone to, remove their worries, triggers, negative thoughts, to help with the anxiety.
You got such a brilliant mind, Claire. So I love your creativity. Yeah, I can't wait to see more of your creation in the future. So what's next for Claire?
Oh, that's a good question. So so this is an interesting part. So I'm doing more speaking and coaching this year because I really miss the in-person interactions. After I've been in product for about 18 months, we couldn't get the influencers to promote our products. So my PR team says, Claire, you be the influencers. And then they start to send me to TV interviews and magazines and podcasts, and I was like, oh shoot, now I had to start speaking. So I started speaking, and then I actually found that I love speaking on stage. I love speaking in interviews, and then I've decided to take it further into a more, a serious like a career and doing like corporate wellness and resilience workshops, taking it to the public as well. That's one. And secondly, I'm doing coaching again because I found the power, the spirit of coaching and combining the nervous system, it's really really impactful. So so many times I am always coaching people to overcome their limiting belief, in this case not feeling good enough, and to achieve their success in life. And a lot of the time we do the mindset work, and we change our thoughts, change our beliefs, but we do it through the nervous system. So we're doing it through like the breath, the tapping, the eye movement. So it's the transformation, it's like much faster. I've done coaching for a long time, but it hasn't been like my main focus. But I just realized like with the nervous system, we just shift people so much faster that in the past they used to battle, they used to battle with like these thoughts. I'm not good enough, my mom said this, my dad said this, whoever did this XYZ. But now they can just like tap and breathe and move their spine, and they're like, oh, now I don't think that way anymore. I feel amazing. I'm gonna do this hard shit now. I'm gonna take the fucking next step. So that's why I want to bring that into the coaching
like a
world.
magician.
Yeah, it's a bit like in spiritual coaching, they did something similar, but we are mainly working through the body. So we're shifting the limiting belief through body to through the nervous system. So
wow, that's amazing. That's going to impact a lot of people, and much needed out there. Thank you so much for what you are doing, the creation, the work that you are creating to help many people out there. So where can people find you online? I know that you got your great jewelry, your journal, and you got your card, and people can come to you for tapping, for coaching. There's so much you can offer, Claire. So where can people find you online?
The best is to jump on our website, breatheintopeace.com, and you can find us on Instagram and Facebook. So we have the same account, Breathe Into Peace, and through there you can find me. So everything is up there. We keep adding a new product. We'll keep making sure that they're uploaded on there, that they're up to date. Yes.
I'll definitely include that in the description. People who need to speak to Claire on or to look into the product that she's offering, make sure you jump on the website or to reach out to Claire via the social media. So I really appreciate your time with us, Claire, and that's so much wisdom that you share and some funny stories, and definitely a lot to take from our conversation. So this is a 100 Successful Women podcast. So what is the one piece of advice that you can give to other women out there?
Oh, this is this is something that I've learned. Your success lies in your nervous system. So really look after your nervous system.
I love that. So your success lie in your nervous system. That's why you created something for our nervous system. So whoever who wants success, make sure you reach out to Claire and look after your nervous system. I love that message. Thank you so much, Claire. You have been so, our conversation is so wonderful. And before we wrap our session today, is there anything that you would like me to ask that I haven't asked yet, Claire?
Yes, we do have a free webinar coming in November 12th, and I just wanna share. I'll probably share the page link later with you. But I would love people to come and then to see if that's something for them. Especially tailored for female business owners.
So November, what date?
12th
of November. Okay, so I'll get the link from Claire and include that in here as well, and then so that whoever who wanted to join the webinar, join Claire from there. I'm sure she's going to share a lot more value from that webinar as well.
Thank you, Vivienne.
Thank you so much, Claire, and appreciate your time, and looking forward for more of your creation, and maybe in the future get you to jump on here to share a lot more as well.
Yes, no problem.